99.3 Nigeria Info. A very lovely morning to you. Welcome to Morning Crossfire. It's, of course, the 8th day of November 2019. And yes, on the Morning Crossfire, what we do is just make sure that we
So the book is on my lap.
bring
It won't
those
show, right?
topical issues right in the front burner into your presence so we can all have a robust conversation. It promises to be interesting. Trust me on that one. You can, however, join the conversation in case you are not close by any radio or you're about to step away from the radio. You can join the conversation on mobile as well. Watch us on Facebook Live. You can also be our guest or our listener on YouTube. On Facebook, YouTube, we're live on those platforms. Nigeria Info 99.3 is what you can search for. Just like our page on Facebook, and of course subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3. On Twitter, you can follow us at Nigeria Info FM on Twitter. Nigeria Info FM on Twitter. And also drop your comments as regards any conversation we're having 24/7 here on the nation's #1 news, talk, and sports radio station. Our WhatsApp portal is also very up and active. The WhatsApp line, take it down right now because we'll be using it during the course of this program this morning. The WhatsApp line is 0809 597 5805. That is 0809 597 5805. Oh well, on today's Morning Crossfire, we shall be focusing on World Science Day for Peace and Development. And to do justice to this, we have Rotimi, Sankore, journalist and data and policy development experts in the studio this morning. Rotimi, once again, thank you for joining us.
Morning.
And we are joined by Lucy Kwesu, program manager, Wow Foundation from our Abuja studio. Lucy, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us from Abuja this morning. Hello, Lucy, can you hear me? Let's see if we can get Lucy to hear us. Lucy, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Absolutely. Good morning to you.
Yes,
It's good
I can
to know
hear you.
that
Good
you
morning.
are there. This morning, our conversation really is about sciences for development. According to the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, the World Science Day for Peace and Development, which is celebrated every year on the 10th of November, was established in 2001 with the aim of highlighting the importance that important role of science in society and the need to engage the wider public in debates on emerging and important temporary issues relevant to science. So this, therefore, means that the establishment of the World Science Day for Peace and Development is to primarily strengthen public awareness on the role of science for peaceful and sustainable societies. It further re-emphasizes the importance and relevance of science in our daily lives. Some people don't even know this, that science is so important that you need it to get by on a daily basis. The basic essence of the World Science Day for Peace and Development is to ensure that citizens are kept informed of development in the sciences. It also underscores the role scientists play in broadening our understanding of the remarkable, fragile planet we call home, this planet Earth, and in making our societies more sustainable in the quest to further achieve peace and development in the world through the use of science. It is important to note that the World Science Day for Peace and Development 2019 will be devoted to the theme entitled Open Science, Leaving No One Behind. Again, welcome and thank you for joining us on the conversation. Rotimi, let's start with the theme this morning. Open science, leaving no one behind. What does that mean to you?
Well, first of all,
So this actually means that, so when we talk about science,
it does signify that there should be adequate investments in science and technology education, so that all this superstition, just goes away, and people understand that science has no limits. In other words, the only limitations on science and tech is your imagination.
Right.
One of my favorite science fiction authors said something that caught my imagination about 35 years ago. He said, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Oh, okay.
He should have added another sentence to those that don't understand how science works. You know? So all these gadgets that we use today in everyday life, whether it is the phone or tablet,
Right.
you know, you just touch the screen and you're accessing information in Japan or China. The signals are bringing things to you. When he made that comment, he was talking about satellites, because he did a sketch some decades before
Right.
on how satellite technology could turn the world into a village. And he was trying to explain how it would work. This was the days before satellite technology became common. And he was trying to explain. He said, look, you launch a satellite, it's in geostationary orbit over one continent. You launch another one, it's over another continent, and you have 4, 5, 6 in geo orbit that is rotating with
Right.
the Earth.
Right.
Instead of laying cables all over the planet to make phone calls. I mean, when we were younger and you were using landline, it was Cooper line. And when you call in the afternoon, because the Cooper line has expanded, the line will be faint. So if you wanted to call people in London or America, you arrange to take that call at night, when the Cooper wires will be cooler and not have expanded,
Right.
and you have better voice quality. And if that is what we are still doing now, I mean, there will be undersea cables all over the place, just messed up. If one just has a problem, you have to send divers. And the guy was saying, look, the way to solve this thing is just to put satellites up.
Right.
And he explained it. He said, if you make a call in Lagos, the equipment from the base station beams it up to the satellite. That one sends it to the satellite over the other continent, and it will go down
Within an amazing speed record limit.
within half a second.
Right.
And everything is on. And people were wondering, what was this guy talking about? Today, it's just commonplace. You don't even think about it.
And that is science.
And that is science and technology. So it's the application of it to make everything easier, whether it is jet planes, or even things that in everyday use, say for instance something like water. I mean, water is so crucial to solving Nigeria's problems. I mean, let me just give some quick examples. So if you have centralized water system,
Right.
in all the cities in Nigeria, the first thing it will do is all this cholera, diarrhea, and everything will almost be zero. Then all this rich sachet, plastic bottle, and everything will almost disappear, or at least reduce to manageable proportion. The knock-on effect of that will be that we'll have less flooding because the drainage will be clearer.
Right.
You have less flooding, you have better roads.
Right.
And of course, the water when you say water and sanitation, water in hospitals, water for other domestic use like washing, water for industrial use, water for irrigation, we'll have better food, you can go on and on. Just basic application of science and technology to water. Or water management. I mean, we have tens of thousands of microbiologists in this country that have no work. Some are bank tellers, some are driving keke napep, some are... All these people would have had gainful employment. Just application of science and tech to water. We haven't started with electricity yet.
Right.
So when you say that World Science and Tech Day for Peace and Development, you really have to question whether our federal, state, and local governments understand how science and technology, or the application of both, can make life easier for everybody.
That's exactly the question we're asking on this program, because we're bringing it down home. I mean, it's okay. It's very good that we've established that context of what it means. The theme for this year, this year's World Science Day for Peace and Development, which is open science, living no one behind. Let me cross over to Abuja. And by the way, you can watch us live on Facebook and see our guest from Abuja. And that's Lucy Ekwesu. She's a program manager of WOW Foundation. WOW Foundation is an NGO based in Abuja. They have branches everywhere, by the way. And they work with the girl child in promoting STEM education in our schools. Lucy, let me come to you. Let's talk about sciences in our school. I mean, if you want to promote sciences and technology as a whole, it has to start with education. And your organization have been involved in this for quite some time now. You celebrated your 10 years anniversary some years ago. How was it been like educating our students in science, in the sciences and the technology space? How has it been like from what you have seen, from what you have observed?
So from my experience, I see that STEM, so what when we talk about science, going into the educational sector, we're talking about STEM. So STEM is a buzzword that stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
I can barely hear you. We need to work on your audio quality so that we can better hear what tech guys fix that.
Okay, so can you hear me now?
Come to Rotimi here. Hopefully, we'll be able to fix your audio. We can see you clearly, but it's just the audio that our tech guy will have to fix. I'll come back to you, Lucy, but let me quickly talk to Rotimi on this particular issue, this same issue, STEM education in our schools. How have we fared?
Well, so it goes back to what I was opening with.
Right.
What I opened with, that the application of science and technology has to be understood and has to be promoted.
Absolutely.
If that is done, then young people, boys and girls, will then aspire to study science and technology. And there is such a wide spectrum now. For instance, coding is so crucial now.
Right.
Programming, the ability to write code, is so crucial now. All these computer applications we use, behind everything now is code, programming.
Right.
To be able to teach kids that from primary school so that it becomes second nature to them. We need to make the gadgets available to them. But look at the majority of the schools. There is even no electricity in the schools, talk less of the gadgets that you need to charge. Children of ordinary, everyday, poor people watch other people using those things and they think it is magical. But these are things we should be teaching everybody.
Right.
If you look globally now, if you go to, say, Silicon Valley, for instance, you will see that most of the everyday apps that you use come from certain centers, whether it is Google, whether it is Facebook, whether it is Twitter, or whether it is all the other ones that you can use selectively or you have to use, whether you like it or not. Of course, I always think that you can live without any of them. Now, all those things are based on certain skills. In the future, even though people think that programming or coding skills in Africa is growing exponentially, it is still limited to the elite, the upper middle class, and the elite that can afford those gadgets. I mean, if you want to buy a good whatever tablet, you will be talking of at least a reasonable 100 to 200,000 naira.
A very good one.
If you want something better in the high range, it will be 3, 4, 500, 600,000 naira.
Right.
That's some people's annual salary, annual rent, even double it.
And what contributed to this cost? It could be partly because we don't manufacture all these things.
Of course. To be able to manufacture, you need to have the skills.
Right.
So if you go to the countries where all these things are made now, the people working in those factories, the men and women working in those factories, they don't necessarily have doctorates in electrical engineering.
Right.
In fact, some of them just have the equivalent of OND or HND. So there are places in China that if you go to the market, you can buy all the components on retail and go home and build it as if it is homework.
Couple it together.
Yes, just couple it together as if it is, excuse me, as if it is homework. Kids do it. But more crucially, there is a gender lens to the issue,
Right.
which I hope will fix the
Yes.
sound problem, and our sister in Abuja can.
Let's quickly go back to Lucy in Abuja. Lucy, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent,
Fantastic,
excellent.
fantastic. So let's talk about your work, really. What you've observed in our schools, the teaching and learning of STEM education in our schools. How would you rate it?
So, coming back to Nigeria, when it comes to STEM, like I said earlier, STEM is a buzzword for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So, it's a way of implementing hands-on activity in the classroom when it comes to teaching in the classroom. So, coming back to Nigeria, we have this traditional way of teaching, just a teacher and the blackboard. Then for the students, it's just for us to cram, just to cram and pass exams. But we do not go in depth when it comes to science. For instance, a teacher is teaching me electricity in physics, and I don't understand the concept when it comes to electricity. I would just cram that V equals to IR. But then, what is this really mean in the practical life? That's what we don't know.
For teachers.
Like last week, I was in Lagos for teachers training on STEM. And also we had the student also in the hall, was teaching the student as well. And shocking enough, an SSC student does not know a resistor. He has not seen a resistor before. And this is what we teach them every day, which is the V equals to IR, a resistor. So STEM is a way of bringing practical learning into the classroom. So if a teacher is teaching a particular topic, can we make this more practical? Instead of me to just cram and pass my exams, or I just do whatever the teacher tells me to do, or I just read from the textbook. So this is STEM in particular. So trying to make it
Quickly.
Exactly.
But practically, we
exactly.
are nowhere to be found.
And
Yeah.
What is
they don't
responsible
know
for
it.
this, Lucy?
Yeah.
What is responsible?
But then, availability of kits. So we have these simple materials in the market. Like if you go to a Keja market now or computer village, you will see so many materials when it comes to, for instance, electronics. You're talking about the resistor, the capacitor. These are very rampant in the market. But then kits are not available because you don't expect the teacher to buy these stuffs in the market and use it to teach teach their students when the government is not providing for them. So if you have enough of these kits in schools, then practical learning will be effective. And also, we also realized that for over 3 years, we'll be doing teachers training in WOW Foundation, where we, like every August, that's a long summer break. We teach teachers on how they can implement STEM into the classroom. I also realized that teachers are not even aware of this new skill. STEM is already, they don't still know, most teachers don't still know the STEM in, using STEM in the classroom. So people will say, when STEM, they'll think it's a branch of a tree. So it still look like, so STEM still looks like, what are you talking about? Do you mean stem of a tree? So now imagine me going to maybe certain part of Nigeria where I came from, and I'm very sure that STEM is not well known. I can go to a school and I'll say STEM, and teacher will ask me what is STEM. So as at this level in Nigeria. So I think we really need to advocate STEM in the classroom, even to schools, in the rural areas, in the urban areas. This needs to
we
be
need
talked
to head
about.
out for a break. Rotimi, you heard what Lucy said. Quite scary and alarming.
Yeah. The
This
education
disheartening to say the least, really. But it's time for us to take a break. When we return, we'll talk more as to how we can begin to change the culture. We can begin to redefine the narrative when it comes to sciences and technology in driving development and peace in Nigeria. You're listening to the Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info. We've been joined in the studio this morning by Rotimi Sankore, and we have Lucy Ekwesu, Program Manager for WOW Foundation, an organization dedicated to improving the girl child's involvement in the sciences and technology space. We're back in a moment. Do join us again.
More talk, news, and sports after this.
And we're back to the Morning Crossfire on your number one news, talk, and sports station, Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Welcome back to the Morning Crossfire. If you're just joining us, you're welcome. Today we're looking at World Science Day for Peace and Development. I am Sheriff Quadry. Rotimi Sankore is here. Lucy Kwesi, Program Manager for WOW Foundation, joins us live from our Abuja studios. You can watch Lucy on YouTube and Facebook. Nigeria Info 99.3. Just search for that. You'll be able to see Lucy from our Abuja studio talk to us live. And you can see Lucy and the Lagos studio side by side if you're watching online. And be a part of that conversation by dropping your comment to know your own thoughts and share your own thoughts on the program this morning. Our WhatsApp portal is also very up and active. Our WhatsApp line is 0809 597 5805. That is 0809 597 5805. If you'd like to be a part of the conversation this morning, here are the numbers you can call.
Call us on 01-277-0993, 01-277-1993, 01-277-2993, and 01-277-3993. This is Nigeria Info. We are listening.
And yes, we're listening. Let's take a few comments from our socials this morning. Let's start with WhatsApp. This person said, when I talked about self-flying drones algorithm at my NISI's PTA meeting, they stared at me like I was from Mars. More exposure and training of teachers to adapt to this change is important. Then gradually we can begin to teach this to more kids in more communities and get them to code and make them analytical thinkers. This is coming from Ike from Ajegunle. Ike, thank you. And Ike first sent one particular message, and Ike said, rightly stated, Mr. Rotimi, I work as a tech instructor specializing in coding, drone assembly, and 3D printing classes. I must say that a lot of work needs to be done to expose this to lower income areas. All equipment used for STEM are quite expensive and can only be afforded by the middle and high income schools. It's disappointing because I can't teach this to kids in Ajekunle. I'm a teacher and I had to learn all these on YouTube. Okay, thank you for that particular one. Rotimi.
Well, I mean, he has said it all there, you know. And when you consider that the majority of kids are from areas that are deprived, you can see where the problems of the future are going to come from. Because not only will you have the majority of kids not having access to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, because demographically speaking, they will also be the majority. If they don't have those skills, then they can't access the jobs of the future. We are talking of fourth industrial revolution. If they can't access the jobs of the future, will they be running around in traffic trying to sell a windscreen wiper in the dry season? And if that doesn't sell, you know, they will be recruited into all kinds of gangs.
Indeed.
I mean, the government needs to get its act together, make the investment properly, to ensure that every child, regardless of income and background, has access to the best science, technology, engineering, and maths education, including boys and girls.
Absolutely. Let's get to the phone lines and hear what people have got to say. Hello, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Sherry.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, I think where we actually need to get it right is in the area, you know, when Rotimi talks about it, he says, let's look at the general, the global picture. The picture that is larger than what we're actually looking at now. We need to get our leadership right. The crop of leadership that we have now is such that they are not thinking in that direction. Because if they are thinking in the right direction, policies that are obvious should be seen as driving towards that area. You talk of STEM. It's not as if that teacher does not know there's something like science, technology, engineering, mathematics. It doesn't know them individually. But putting them together as to have a systematic drive is what it doesn't know as STEM. And that is obvious in everywhere because there's no particular policy that is driving it.
Right. Right.
So that is what I think.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you for calling. Okikiade joins us from Prayer City. Okikiade, good morning to you.
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
And I'm this Rotimi also. Good morning. Engineer Okikiade. I'm calling from Prayer City.
Oh, excellent.
I'm a product of Baptist Academy, 1957 to 1961.
Excellent.
And I did a science subject, actually, all the 3 science subjects. Physics,
Right.
chemistry, biology, and mathematics, of course, and the additional mathematics. Those were the days, but our laboratory was not even well equipped. Can you imagine as far back as 1960, 61, when I did my school start? We had to go to the nearest school run by the Catholic, as is this Bariga, is this St. Fimba or CMS Grammar School, something like that.
Both,
That's where we went for our practicals as far back. So at least I think the government should do something. Compulsory science education for all students. Don't even give them options. Because in this school, in where I stay here now, I have a grandson staying with me. I said, what do you want to study? We are 200 in class, and all of us are doing art and art.
Oh, gosh.
Art. Yes, in my what we call it, I think Ibafo, one of the high science. It's in SS1. They divided it into
200.
science class, and I said, okay, what of those people in the science class? I said they are not more than, they're less than 100. What of you? You are in commercial. What of you? You are in art. 400 in art class, 400 in
400.
Commercial class, and nobody, and very, very small in the science class.
Right.
So really, the Nigerian government has to do a lot. This is Lagos and Ogun State. Now going to the hinterland. I'm from Oyo State. You can imagine where the people cannot even speak correct English. Teachers also are ill-equipped. Oh, God bless you, Jare. Continue with them.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
Thank you, Engineer Okikiade. Let's quickly speak with Prince Chidi. Prince Chidi, good morning to you.
Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning.
Yeah, Chidi on the line.
Welcome.
I've listened to the program about science and technology in schools. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I think the major problem we have is that the people we place at the aim of affairs concerning the science and technology issue, our ministers and all that, they are not well grounded on what they are doing. So, unlike other clients, where you help people that are actually into the system or into the business they are into. Are you getting it?
Right.
So that's what we're having.
Having the right people to take the lead.
Yes, having the right
Indeed.
people that are motivated, people that actually knows what science and technology is all about.
Right.
So
right. Prince Chidi,
can get in that direction.
thank you for calling. Appreciate your time. Let's quickly go to Abuja. Lucy, can you hear me, Lucy?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
It's bad enough that we
Yes, I
don't
can hear you
have
clearly.
effective science teaching and learning in our schools. It's even worse when we look at the number of girl children involved in the sciences. What can you tell us about this? I know that you particularly, you're dedicated to this. What can you tell us about the number of girls that we have that are involved in the sciences and technology space?
Yeah, so comparing girls' child in science field, it's quite very small. So they have a ratio of 1 to 5, 1 girl to 5 boys in a class. So I studied chemical engineering at Data Center University, Abraka, and in a class of 60, we were just 10 girls. So we have 50 guys, and just 10 of us were girls. So you could imagine the challenge. So, but then we had
something I see.
the first thing I say about girls not involved in the science or engineering field is because I feel they don't have a role model. They're not looking up to anyone to study science or go into engineering. Like for me, I didn't have a role model for me to study engineering. I just wanted to, so I love oil and gas. I was really inspired by how does this work? So that was like, okay, let me go into engineering, chemical engineering, and see how processes happens or how processes work. So I did my background check before I decided to apply for chemical engineering. So I really had no one to look up to say this is my role model in engineering or this is what I really want to achieve. But research helped me to do that. So for young girls, I feel that they don't go beyond what they are being taught in the classroom for them to see the importance of science or technology in the future. So there's no role model, and as well that they don't really see that, okay, what am I going to achieve studying this? Because they feel that science technology is a female-dominated field. So that's why they just leave it for the guys to do. But to shock us, the girls are really good. When it comes to science, intellectually, they are very, very good in sciences. Very, very, very good in sciences. From experience, I've worked with female teachers, I've worked with female students on STEM, and they do extremely well. So that is why I feel that we should encourage more girls to go into, we should encourage girls as well to go into science. Because if you have girls in the industrial sector, like when I was in my IT, I worked in a refinery twice for almost a year. And in the plant, I work in the plant. We have just 2 females, myself as an intern and one of the staff, in a plant of over 20 staff.
Please stop
so you can imagine the gap.
Getting involved in these sciences. Is it that science and technologies are not for the girl child?
Oh, good grief!
They are scared.
All the
They are
girls
scared.
and women that I know that are engineers, scientists, I mean, they're as good as, if not better than the men. So nothing to do with gender at all.
Yeah.
There are 2 main challenges. One is we need overall improved access to for girls to education overall.
Right.
Because not all girls are able to access education even at the rate of boys. And even though the rate of boys is lower than it should be, it is worse for girls. So that is one. The second is that the gender stereotypes that prevent girls from.
Yeah,
so
that's
our
a
sister in
major one.
Abuja was making an important point that she didn't have role models when she wanted to study engineering. That's really important. But also, the what we used to call guardians and counseling, I don't know what they call it now, about courses, what you want to do, encouragement from parents, encouragement from teachers. If there is any suggestion that girls will not make good engineers or good scientists, or then obviously it starts to discourage girls. And let me say that at the very top elite, level of science,
right,
only a woman has won Nobel Prize in multiple sciences. Maria Curie.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Google is your friend. A woman has won Nobel Prize in multiple sciences. And so not one, multiple. And her daughter too. So she was a role model for her daughter, and her daughter also, achieved the same.
Okay.
So it's quite clear that once you make it clear that there are no restrictions, there is nothing wrong with a woman being an engineer, there is nothing wrong with a woman being a scientist, and they're encouraged from school, from home, and the overall access to education is there. And it not only benefits the girls and women in terms of their individual aspiration, it also benefits the society.
Absolutely.
Because not every man is going to do science and tech. And if you want the greatest number possible of people in science and tech, you need to make sure that it is well open to both men and women, because the society as a whole will benefit from it. I mean, here where we are in this company now, we have a woman engineer.
Absolutely.
That's running the company. And I dare any male engineer to say that she doesn't know as well or better.
Right.
So we have practical examples, in
They're
front
always
of
very
us
good.
every day, like that. So it has to be systematically done. There is a fantastic example, great girls from Anambra State that entered a global competition.
Right.
And won.
Yeah. Technovation
And
challenge.
I'm sure everybody remembers this.
Technovation
4
challenge.
girls
Right.
from Anambra in Nigeria entered the global science and tech competition and won. And they went to the US and did us proud, received their prize, came back. Governor Willie Obiano was so excited about it. So, it demonstrates that it is very, very possible.
Right.
The investment, the encouragement, and a deliberate policy to make sure that girls have access to science and tech education.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Morning. Well, Quadry.
Yes, please. Go on.
Yeah, thank you for this information. I call it information, and with the organ that is there, Rotimi, that is always on the line.
What's your name, please, and where are you calling from?
My name is Morris. I'm calling from the Quadry area.
Good to have you. Please go on ahead with your contribution.
The thing is that the education standard has fallen, like what you readily mentioned about guardian and the counseling. In those days, if you are in class 1, 2, 3, these people come around to ask you what you want to do, what is your vision, what are you looking at. But I don't think these days such things are still obtained in schools, And I think I blame the economy too, because the way the situation of the economy of Nigeria is now, it's affecting every sector, and it is sad. To me, it is sad. People go to school. Like I have my own son. He manufactures stuff.
He manufactures what?
He manufactures
toy.
This month.
Oh.
If I have to send him to China or Japan to put this.
Oh, Maurice, bad connection there.
But he's saying he has a son that manufactures toys. Those kind of kids should have scholarships. I'm sorry to cut in short.
Yes, please.
One of the problems we have in our ministries of science and technology at the federal and state level, and by the way, we should replicate this at local government level, is that when we spot talented young girls and boys that are good at science and technology, we don't encourage them by giving them scholarship and making sure that they finish their education.
Do we have a policy that supports that?
We don't. That's what I'm saying. There should be a well set up scholarship system so that once you start excelling, girl or boy, from primary or secondary school, people come meet with you and say, okay, they interview you, what area exactly do you want to do, and they encourage you up to the point where even when you finish in Nigeria, they can send you abroad. Look, the Chinese did not achieve what they did, by playing around like our government officials are doing here.
Right.
They sent people out of China to go and study and see what is happening all over the world, and then transfer the technology. If at this point our own education system is so bad that we can't even do it at home, talk less of sending people out, then obviously we have a serious problem.
Let's speak with Emmanuel from Akute. Emmanuel, good morning. Thank you for holding the line.
Yeah, good morning. Mr. Rotimi, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Yeah, recently we had some kids from, the southern part of Nigeria that contested in an Google initiative stuff, and they won it. Because
we had multiple sets, but I was talking about the girls from Anambra State.
Yeah, the girls. Because I was wondering, those kids were very small and they went for the competition and they were just...
And they won.
They did a lot of things. They created an app. If we can just enlighten more people, just give them the skills and knowledge for them to do those things, like those children have portrayed, you can get more kids going into programming, going into different kind of things that they can make this country move forward.
Right.
Because I don't know why we can just say people should just go into different aspects. Because when we give those kids the knowledge and skills they need, they can just perform different things. That's just my say for today.
All right then. Thank you for calling. Appreciate your contribution. Let's talk to Osare from the UAE. Osare, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. I've been listening to your program talking about the World Science Day for Peace and Development.
Right.
Yeah, as somebody with a science background, I think one of the major challenges we have in science development is foundation at secondary school level. You find out that in science, the foundation is basically mathematics, stats and mathematics. Any child that cannot associate mathematics will not have interest in physics or chemistry. And back in the day, if I still recall, the teacher, most of the time, teachers we have in secondary school teaching mathematics were very poor in teaching math. They discouraged people from teaching math. They made it look like math it's something that requires two brains to be able to study. So because of that, at the early stage, a lot of students get scared of mathematics. They say, math is tough, or is this and that. Gradually, discouragement starts, and that's also scare girls. You also observe that girls that are good in math and engineering, a lot of people were inspired from school. A lot of them were inspired from home or from other sources, and they are usually very good, but they are few. If you go to university, for instance, about a class of 15 may start engineering year 1. By the time they get to year 3, if there are maybe about 20 girls, by the time they get to year 3, they may have about 5 girls left. So a lot has to do with the foundational science from secondary school, how mathematics is being taught.
Right.
And that's what gives people the courage or interest to pursue further or not. Otherwise, if you don't put that together properly, people will not pursue it. They may be interested, but they'll be scared. Now, our science is not going in our environment. White people or girls go into science, you get scared at a very early age, and they run to other areas.
Right. Thank you for calling. Appreciate your time. Osari from the UAE. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Itoja is here from Egbeda. Itoja, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. I want to say that the government is not serious about anything. I want to disagree with Mr. Rotimi in some aspects.
You're welcome.
Yes. You see, with programming, it's very easy to teach programming. It's not so expensive. We have the Raspberry Pi and we have the Arduino programming kits. They're very cheap. They're no more than $20. You understand? So, yes.
For an Ajegule kid, have you?
No, I mean, I'm talking about the government.
The government,
now.
okay.
You understand? Providing these things in schools. It's not such a hard thing. It's just the will to do these things. You understand?
Right.
So, secondly, the problem with our educational system is regulation. You understand? A lot of children go to private schools, and these private schools are able to afford these things. But because the government does not regulate it, they cut corners. You understand now? So the system needs to be rejigged, you understand?
Right.
And then we have to have people in place with the willpower to do these things. People who are serious.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
I'm not sure what we disagree on there.
I'm not actually
because
clear.
I said the government is not investing enough in science, technology, engineering, and math, and primary and secondary school.
Right.
That's what he said. I said kids from poorer backgrounds, the quality of their education is affected because they go to government school and the government does not make the investment for them, and their parents cannot afford to buy those things for them to use at home.
Right.
That's exactly what he said. I'm not sure what we are disagreeing on.
Lucy, let me come to you, Lucy. In case you're just joining us, you can actually watch Lucy on Facebook and Twitter, even on YouTube. Just look for Nigeria Info 99.3. You can see Lucy from our Abuja studio. She joins us there. She's been on air with us since 8 a.m. Lucy, let's begin to coast home now and talk about how we can begin to change the narrative, especially the use of science and technology for peace and development. How do we start? Because the journey looks like we can't make it. But in your opinion, with someone who is in this area, in this space, how can we start?
So I think someone mentioned earlier that getting STEM science materials in the classroom is very expensive. But there's something we always encourage teachers to do. We can use
this connection with you if we have the time. But in the meantime, Rotimi, let me come to you right now. How do we start? How do we start this journey? It looks like a journey to a far away land.
Well, I think that first of all, this is why we need to pay more attention to politics. Because once politics season comes and the nonsense starts about vote for X because X is from your side of the country, from your state, your village, your local government, your hut, your hamlet. Vote for Y because the person shares the same religion with you. Vote for. Then the whole point of public service of politicians only being there
just hold the thought.
To
this particular
improve
caller
the quality of life and education.
has been on the line for a while. Okoyemi, sorry for holding you. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Okoyemi, calling from Quadry.
Welcome.
Basically, I feel that, I've heard everybody talk about government. Yes, of course, the government is not doing its duty, as regards, promoting STEM in Nigeria. But I think that there is a lot we can do as a people to actually, solve this problem. Because if we wait on the government, we're going to wait forever. That's what I actually feel. Because we are talking about policy issue, we are dealing with systems problem. But I think that, as individuals, we can start looking at how can we solve some of these problems, and intervene. I run a digital inclusion center, in Badagry here, because I realized that, STEM education and, of course, sensitization of tech, in some underserved communities are quite low. So what we do here is, I still work, I do my normal work, and I bring together my friends, and we go from school to school, teaching these people how to, code, from primary schools then to secondary school. So we have, when we do that during the summer, we do the same thing for them, and of course it's getting better. We have some of these kids now. We turn it to clubs, right? So they're able to teach their other colleagues, and the chain goes on and on and on and on like that. If we keep complaining, yes,
that's a good thing you're doing. Thanks for calling.
Can I just say that I salute Okoyemi, but this is palliative measure. This is first aid.
Right.
It is the work of government to make sure that the education policy and the investment is, if we leave it to good individuals like Okoyemi to be doing it in part-time, how are we going to industrialize?
Rotimi, we really must go now. It's an interesting conversation that I wish we had more time to talk more about this. Rotimi, thank you for being a part of the program this morning. Many thanks to Lucy Ikwesu, Program Manager, WOW Foundation, who joined from Abuja studio. Thanks to those that assisted on the program this morning. I'm Sheriff Quadry. We are back on Monday morning with another edition of the Morning Crossfire. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye for now.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.